Hi guys, you may see behind me lots of colorful wheels and paint samples. This is a very special place in Porsche. Now we are in Sonderwunsch, which basically means special request. And essentially what it means is that you can do anything you want to a Porsche, whether it's the paintwork, whether it's the leather color, whatsoever. Now I can't show you a lot of the cars here in this workshop, unfortunately, because they are customer cars, but there's one very special car that I can show you. There's the Celestial Jade Taycan. In a previous life working for Porsche, exclusive manufacture and Sonderwunsch weren't talked about much, if at all. But today it's far more prolific, with ever greater demand for creating and experiencing something unique, akin to asking for the off-menu item at a restaurant. Each project would typically cost 6 to 7 figures and take around 1 to 3 years. For the really rare one-off creations, the waitlist goes up to 10 years. However, high-value commissions of electric cars are few and far between. Would people spend significant amounts tailoring an electric car, akin to creating a work of art? Porsche seems to think so, and we're here to find out why. So we have Clemens here, who is a project manager of this very special car. Now, it's essentially his baby.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell me more about what this car is all about.
Of course, James. Thank you very much for being here and for witnessing the birth of my baby, as you put it. The car is all about bringing together what maybe seems like contradictory. So the idea was to bring the heritage, the tradition that the greater Asia Pacific region, especially Singapore, Thailand, stands for, where you have a great heritage within the region, together with the modernity, the cutting edge, the economic development, the dynamics of the market. How do you translate this feeling onto a car? Porsche, we also feel like we have a great heritage, but we are also working with modern technologies on the cutting edge with our cars. And I think the Taycan is a perfect example of this, where we have all the history and where we are coming from the racetrack, from winning Le Mans multiple times, and we brought it in the BEV age, right? In the new electric vehicle age. And then how did we put this onto the car is basically by doing a very, very special paint job. An individual paint job that is a fade of 2 colors from the front to the back. Yeah. In the front we're having urban bamboo, and in the back we're having shifting carbon, and we're fading that with 8 different segments. Yeah. Across the whole car to really also show that these opposites are merging into each other.
I understand this is a world's first.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell me about the challenges that went to combining 2 different Chromaflair paint colors. I mean, I just can't even think about how this is done, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, like you said, it's Chromaflair, and Chromaflair, it's a very special paint that has tiny flakes in them that reflect the light very differently. The flakes are 50 times thinner than human hair.
Wow.
And this in itself is a very difficult paint to work with and to apply in one single color to the car. And here we did it with 2 different colors. And yes, you could go ahead by trying to just put a hard line in between the 2 colors, or you try to make it more harmonious, and that's what we achieved. And the way to the finished product, it was 18 months of from the concept, from the first meeting to now seeing the final car. And we did countless paint samples. So first you start really by each segment. I need to mix the right mixture between urban bamboo and shifting carbon. And it's not a science, because maybe you would go approach it by saying, let's do 10% each gradient, right? 10% more shifting carbon in each segment. Yeah. But we tried that as the starting point, and we realized this is not aesthetically pleasing to the human eye, because the human eye is tricky. Maybe mathematically it would make sense, but we had to adapt it. It was a good starting point, and then once we found each segment and which paint gradient it should have, we then went ahead to really try on the body shell of a Taycan. So we steered the car out of the production line, and we took this body shell and we locked ourselves into the paint shop with the paint technicians, and we painted it over and over again. Also to perfect the process, because the paint cannot dry. So you cannot do, I paint one segment, I paint the next segment. You have to do it in one sitting, in one go, and it has to be a fluid movement as well. You can think of it like a Formula One pit crew. There was the main paint technician standing there painting, and he had two people left and right of him. One person that took the paint gun off of the air hose of the air supply and handed the next paint gun with the new color segment on to put it on.
It's so precise.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, looking from the side, you can really tell the gradient of the paint. I'm just curious, is the paint heavier in this car as opposed to just a normal paint work?
Yes, but I cannot give you the exact details of how many more grams this would be, because you first finish the whole car in one color, which is urban bamboo, and then you are working with the gradients and with the segments. So this is a process steps that you don't have for a normal painted car. So therefore, all the additional segments are additional paint material that is applied to the car.
Yeah. So obviously in this light, the car already looks very different from certain angles. But I'm really curious how the car looks like in the sun.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to see it outside in the sun, and I think the way the color interacts in the sunlight and how the different angles reflect the sunshine and also flop the color, it's purely amazing. So if I have one thing for the owner, for the lucky owner of this thing, please drive it, please bring it out to the sunlight for other people to also enjoy it.
I mean, I understand this is the most expensive Taycan that will ever be sold, right?
It's the most expensive Taycan to date, by far, for us at Porsche. And we are very proud of that fact. And I think it clearly shows in the car. And with the craftsmanship that has been put in all the details in the car, I think it's worthy the money that we would like to achieve.
Oh, the car looks a lot darker here. Really looks like a totally different car from the front.
Exactly. If you only see it from the rear, you would not know that there is even a fade going on, right? If you only look at it from one side, you're not even noticing it, and it looks almost menacing in its dark. And also the shifting carbon is super nice color. You're having the gray, a slight purple, a slight blue, all interplaying within this one single shifting carbon color, and then you're having the fade all across the car. So super outstanding.
I noticed the Turbo S logo is also painted. What color is this?
Exactly, the Turbo S as well as the electric model designation on the side of the car, they are both painted in shifting carbon to fit the concept of the car. We first tried to do it also with a fade, but when we produced those as sample parts, we found it wasn't outstanding enough and it wasn't harmonious with the concept. So we decided to go with one single color shifting carbon for all the badging and details on the car.
See this motif in the seats. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, the motif is the Longma from the Chinese mythology, combination of the dragon and the horse. And the idea basically was in Western culture, right? We have the unicorn. Yeah. And when you see a super special car, you always say, that's a unicorn. And this again translated for the region or inch a subtle hint that maybe you don't immediately see or understand, but I think with this storyline it pulls it very nicely together. And we also put this motif on a small part. So we have the door projector in the doors, so when you open the doors, the light shining down on the ground, you're having that. We're having it on the door sill guards.
So sitting in here, wow, it feels very special because of this two-tone color.
Yeah.
Is this a paint to sample color for the leather?
Exactly. We call it leather to sample at Sonderwunsch. Within Porsche, you already have a very big amount of interior choice options for the Taycan. But if you as a customer are not able to find the color, the leather color that you like for your car, we're offering this with Sonderwunsch, where we have 150 additional colors in our catalog. And we can also develop any color that you bring us a sample of. And here with the car, we developed this English green color, leather to sample, and we used it for the car because we thought this leather color would be best fitting again harmoniously with the outside, with the paint job, but not overpowering, right? It's also important to be, because you should feel you're spending your time as a driver in the car, and you're using this space, and it should not be overpowering with too much going on. So we feel like it's a very nice, subtle and harmonious approach with the leather to sample in the interior.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite impressed with the attention to detail. Even the floor mats are color coded, and also the headliner as well. So
Exactly.
It's a very, very complete package.
Exactly, and that's most important to us always, that you have everything fitting together in a nice way.
I noticed the key looks very interesting.
Yeah. With the key, we also did something very special. We have the individualized key pouch with the same leather as in the interior.
Wow.
And then for the side of the key, and that's the party piece, I would say, we did the same fade that we did on the exterior of the car on the sides of the key from the front to the back.
That's attention to detail, man. Okay, now we're looking at the frunk. Wow, it's all leather lined.
Exactly. And we did the same leather as we used in the interior, put it in the front trunk as a nice additional extra, right? Something that you wouldn't expect. And what we have here is also the Sonderwunsch embossing that you have, and a nice additional feature if you don't want to get, when you're transporting something, your nice English green leather too dirty or damaged, you can flip the mat around and you're having the carpet in slate gray as well for your transportation.
Oh, very thoughtful.
Yes.
I think we have learned so much about this car. Thank you for your time. Well, I'm sure you'll find a very happy customer.
Yes, thank you very much, James.
Cheers. Thank you. I can safely say that Porsche is now fast approaching customization standards once reserved for the stratosphere of the automotive world. With a cost of production that's likely triple that of the standard Taycan Turbo S, the one-off Celestial Jade is slightly the priciest ever Taycan produced to date. However, I urge you to look beyond the monetary value. It's a statement of intent that Southeast Asia has well and truly arrived on the world map. It's also a demonstration of what Sonderwunsch is capable of. Essentially, the sky is the limit. Now, here's a kicker. Celestial Jade is at the same time contributing back to society. Following a static tour around Southeast Asia, Celestial Jade will be auctioned off with proceeds going to a good cause. It's a virtuous cycle that makes Celestial Jade a true trailblazer.